Oh, guys, what is good, guys? Welcome back to the channel. And guys, listen up. Today, once again, not just today, but yesterday, there was so much news. You already know Barcelona, we got a new signings, and we got so much more to talk about with Nico Williams, right? Roony Bardghji coming to Barca. Not just that, Marcus Rashford still wants to come. He's adamant, it looks like. And then also some transfer sales. Guys, before we get into it, make sure to smash up the likes. Guys, smash the likes because it helps the channel grow and more people can see the content. And not only that, subscribe to the channel as well because we will be cooking. But guys, before we get started, Barca volume, my boy, his things in the title. What are you saying, my guy? How you doing, man?
Bro, I'm so excited. We've been so active on this transfer window. It's insane. I mean, Deco has been cooking, and we got to let that man cook, man. I warned you guys, you and Omar BYT. I warned you guys, Deco will stand on business, and boy, he's been working. What a bargain. That kid, 19 years old, of an ACL, okay, that's fine, but that's why we're getting him so cheap because his ceiling, it's really high.
Yeah, bro, listen, bro, we're going to talk about it. But, guys, big up to the chat, right? Guys, get in the chat whenever I see some good messages, right? I'm going to intervene because the chat, y'all show support. So, big up to all y'all. Smash the likes. But you know what? Let's actually get straight into it. You know what I'm saying? Let's get started right now because did you see? I mean, of course you saw the news. I saw you make a video about it. But Roony Bardghji, he is Barcelona's second signing this transfer window. And even though it's a guy that it looks like he's going to be with the Barca B team or Barca Athletic, he's also going to be playing minutes with the A team in preseason most likely. And, hey, if he delivers, who knows what he can be. But I do want to show you the report. It is confirmed. Fabrizio Romano gave it the here we go. And that's the thing. The fee is only 2 to 2.5 million. It's a very, very, very cheap deal for a player that I remember before his ACL. This guy was highly rated. I was seeing Real Madrid links. I was seeing a lot of links to big clubs. Apparently, 10 clubs wanted him, and he still chose Barcelona. But what are you saying about Roony Bardghji to Barcelona? Because this transfer is complete.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I love this signing so much, and not only because it strengthens our team. Like, to me, I wouldn't be so quick to say it's going to Barca Athletic. I wouldn't be so. I think that maybe Hansi Flick may want to use him for Lamine to offload Lamine Yamal's. I mean, we all know how much Lamine Yamal played last year, and I think that this kid can develop into something that Hansi Flick maybe getting wrap his arms around him and see if he can play at the top level with Barcelona right now. He has a big ceiling, but we have to see though, because he came off an ACL. We've seen Gavi came off of an ACL. I've seen Florian Wirtz came off of an ACL.
Yes,
That's going to be very important. But if this kid can come back from it, Barcelona can definitely use him as a bench player, as a role player for next season. So I wouldn't be so quick to say that he's not going to play next season. I actually think that he will, and I'm a little excited. But to be honest with you, I didn't see a lot of him when he was a couple of years ago. I do remember that goal he scored against Manchester United. But this kid, at that moment when he scored that goal against Manchester United, he was worth like 60, 70, even maybe 80 mil. A couple of clubs, even Manchester City, was linked to this kid until he got injured. So it was a little unfortunate, but it looks like Barcelona can make just a great signing. It's a great investment, just great business. And Deco keeps delivering these signings that look like just great business.
Yo, Deco, I can't lie. Listen, I hold my hands up. Deco right now is absolutely cooking, bro. We're going to talk about this Brazilian kid later on. Deco, I can't lie. Deco, I've always said this though, Barca Volume. Deco's a guy when it comes to getting youngsters, he's very good at it. I'm like, when it comes to getting the senior players, that's where I worry. But you know what? This window, fair enough. 9 out of 10 window so far. I can't even lie. But I do want to speak about Roony Bardghji some more because I haven't seen much of him, but I did know of him before his ACL tear. Very highly, he was like 17 at the time, very highly rated, right? A guy, I think he represents Sweden, and he has some Arabic ancestry, basically. So he's from like Kuwait or something like that. Yeah. And he's a very good player. I saw Faysal, Faysal, the Madrid fan, very big. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Faysal. Faysal was talking about how this guy is a very, very, very talented player.
I watched Faysal video. To be honest with you, I did watch. He was talking about a little bit of inside information, right? Because his family knows this kid from like he was like 14 or whatever. Since his debut, when he was this kid debuted when he was like with like 15 years old, and like 2 weeks into it, he scores his first goal. And then in Copenhagen, he's been like this phenom, right? And everybody, was regarded as like the Sweden Messi or something like that, right? Like we all know, we all seen these kids, right, who are supposed to be the next Messi, supposed to be the next Cristiano Ronaldo, and it just never was planned out. But with this kid, it actually came to fruition, dude. When he was scoring against Man United, like I said, I think this kid, Barcelona has put in a master class of how to go after a kid and buy him on the low, and then potentially he can be great for you or sell him on the high. Look at Real Madrid, for example. For once, we made a better decision than Real Madrid because this kid and the type of ceiling that he has, this Franco Mastantuono kid, can't be much better than this kid. They're at least going to be
that's a hot take. That's a hot take.
Dude, no, I've seen.
But it's a better deal. It is a better deal.
I've seen both of them play. The only great thing about Mastantuono is that he's on the rise, right? He's 17. He's not 19 like Bardghji is, but he doesn't have that history of getting injured. Now, he's still young, but when you look at how Real Madrid is going, how much Real Madrid will pay for this kid, which is 40 to 60 when it's all said and done with the add-ons, he's going to end up paying 60 million for a kid who's not even going. He's a prospect. He's not going to start next season.
That's true.
Then Barcelona getting a player like Bardghji who was supposed to cost you like 70, 80 mil, and you get him for 2.5 because this was all on Copenhagen. Let's be honest. This was all on Copenhagen because they could not sign this kid when he got injured. They should have signed this kid a year and a half ago, and this kid's contract runs out in December. So now if they don't sell it, they have to let it go.
Real quick, I had a question. Do you guys in the chat also, because look at this report right here. It's basically saying, like, by Fernando Polo, who's reliable, right? Basically, he's going to have a split role between the B team and the first team, right? That's why, as much as I got excited, I'm like, it's a smart move, very smart move by Deco. And I can't lie, Deco is on smoke this transfer window. Yeah. Is he going to be playing with the first team? I don't know. But in the chat, do you guys think he's going to be the backup right winger? Because that's the thing. Let's be real, Barca volume. That's the reason why people are happy about the signing, because he's a backup that is creative, similar type of profile to Yamal, a guy who likes to be creative and he likes to dribble and he likes to shoot, right? He's a he's an attacking spark. He's a guy who can make something out of nothing. And before his ACL injury, I actually wanted Barca to get him. And not just that. I remember when Florian Wirtz got his ACL. I remember clearly. I was like, Barcelona. I didn't have a YouTube channel at the time, but I was like, Barcelona should go for Florian Wirtz because the ACL, he's so talented. When it comes to talent, ACL, it makes you less explosive. But pure talents, they can come back off an ACL very, very strong still because they're so talented. It's not about the athleticism for them. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was like, Barca should low-key go for Florian Wirtz while he got the ACL. But Leverkusen, credit to them. They're very smart. They wanted to keep Wirtz. They believed that he was the guy, and now they're getting 150 million. Copenhagen, apparently, Bardghji, he wanted to leave Copenhagen, and he didn't really have a good end to last season, so that's why he was cheap. But I'm just surprised Copenhagen let him go for 2 million. I would think at least 12 mil, 13 mil, you know what I'm saying? But it's a steal. I can't lie. It is a steal because the risk is so low, but the reward potentially is so high for Barcelona, and that's why I'm excited about it.
Well, they were pushed up against the wall because in reality they don't want to let this kid for that price. They don't want to let him go for that price. But the problem is now they lost all their leverage, because if you let this kid run his contract until December, then he goes to Barca for free. Because he already wanted to go to Barcelona. There was other clubs that were really, really interested in him, but Barcelona is the one that takes him home. Why? Because it's the only one that he wants to play for. And not only that, but at the same time, it's like if Copenhagen, like you're saying, the 12 million or whatever, yes, that would have been the ideal situation for them. But the fact that they didn't have him under contract, they lose all their leverage. So what would happen is that Copenhagen will say, I want 10 million for him. And then Barcelona will say no, and everybody else will say no. And then he's going to go for free to Barca. They wanted to make at least something.
Part, though. this is why I'm very surprised that we got Roony Bardghji, because I was like, I saw the links and I'm like, he's very talented, but he's not playing over Yamal. Would he accept the role? He accepted the role. And not just that, 10 clubs wanted him and he still chose Barca. And I think it's because he believes in himself, which makes me kind of happy. I've also heard that, that this guy has some attitude issues, but apparently it's false. It's just because Copenhagen, they didn't like that he was forcing a move. That happens. You know what I'm saying? But I can't lie. I'm very excited. Preseason. Miguel, are you telling me that you're not excited? Guys in the chat, you're telling me you're not excited for preseason. We could potentially see Ibrahim Diarra, Tony Fernandez, guys like Goulet Fernandez. You know what I'm saying? We could see so many guys, bro. You know what I'm saying? Dude. Playing. And this kid next, brother, I can't lie. The preseason watch-alongs are going to be fire, bro. I can't wait for it. But
I know. No, I'm telling you, dude, I haven't been this excited. Like I've said this before. You heard me say that before. I haven't been this excited since probably Lewandowski. And now when you're adding more things to it, now I'm thinking like, man, when was really the last time I was this excited for Barcelona preseason games with Barcelona preseason? And I don't even know if it goes back when the MSN was. Like, I don't even know when was the last time I was this excited for next coming up season. And it starts, dude. I think that this kid, Roony Bardghji, I think he's gonna be a rotational player next season. I'm gonna go as far as to say it, but it's all gonna depend on how well he's coming back from that ACL and how much he can impress Hansi Flick in the trainings. He's got a great shot from outside the box. He's got great technical abilities. He's not the typical winger like Nico Williams or Lamine Yamal that like to play wide. He's a player that likes to play more interior. Messi used to be a player who, it's hard to compare people to Messi, right? It's hard to compare players to Messi. But that's the Franco Mastantuono and this kid Roony Bardghji, they have the same similarities. Messi liked to get the ball in between the line, in between the numbers, and used to like cut inside or cut outside, try to cross, try to take two people one-on-one. But the one thing that Messi loved to do, he always loved to cut inside and shoot with his left. That's one of the things that this kid likes to do. From what I'm hearing and from what I'm looked at, he's a lefty, but he can play with both feet. But he's not the typical wide threat like Nico Williams like to just be really wide. Vinicius Jr. likes to be really wide. Lamine Yamal likes to be really wide and kind of do their damage as they're going in. But this kid, he likes to go inside a little bit like Leo Messi, in my opinion.
Yeah, listen, it's good because Yamal, I'm not going to lie, Yamal actually, as much as he cuts cuts inside, a lot of the time, Lamine Yamal, he beats his guy out wide. And that's what makes Lamine dangerous because he has both tools.
He's really unpredictable.
Yeah, that's the thing. With Lamine, he's very unpredictable. I can't even lie. This is why I highlight this comment. If Deco gets us a left back, like a backup for Balde, or just a guy who can compete with Balde, it's an absolute fact. That means we've got legitimately every single hole, the necessities, right? The left wing hole, we got that, right? We're going to get the, what's it called? This was an addition, in my opinion. The left wing hole was major, right? Well, a goalkeeper hole is major, right? If we get a fullback, I think that it's truly a 10 out of 10 window. And speaking about Deco, did you see the report, right? Shane Mecca, big up to you. Barcelona getting that, 17-year-old kid, CDM from Brazil. Because let me just put it on the screen right here. This guy, I don't know why it's not loading. Here, hold up. Yeah, so guys, right here, apparently Barcelona, they're in advanced negotiations to sign this kid named Lucas. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I haven't watched this guy. I haven't even seen a comp of him, unlike Bardghji. Bardghji, I've seen him. I've known him. I've known of him. But this kid right here, it looks like Barcelona, and they're saying a final agreement between parties is expected soon. If Deco can once again cook up and get us another player, that signing right there, that one, the Zalukas for the CDM from Brazil, that reminds me of like a Pedri signing where I legitimately had no idea who this kid is. And then in 2 years, he's starting for my club. Who knows? Apparently he's highly rated. I've seen his stats. His stats are very good, the metrics, but I can't even lie. Deco is cooking this window. I can't. Hey, but what are you saying about Zalukas? Do you know anything about him?
In the words of Romero from Gigantes, little things are happening at Barcelona right now. Like I'm just gonna go ahead and say it, man. And to that comment right there, 10 out of 10. If we get a left back, I'll say this: we needed a goalkeeper. We got it. Okay. We needed depth at the left wing position. It looks like we got it in Nico Williams. It's pretty much July 1st. Barcelona will activate the release clause for
Yeah,
Nico
we'll talk
Williams.
about that.
We needed depth for Lamine Yamal, and it looks like this kid Roony Bardghji, that's another debt we're adding. It looks like we got it. We need a better striker. It looks like Rashford may be still happening, which is surprising to me. And I need to give you my thoughts a little bit later on that. It's very, very interesting.
Bro,
We need, dude,
you know why I'm
every
laughing,
single
bro? Hold on,
every
you know why I'm
single
laughing real quick, bro? How the heck are we a broke club and we're getting Rashford? You know what I'm saying? On loan, Nico Williams, Yair
yeah,
Garcia, right? A
yeah,
left back, maybe Grimaldo, right? How are
yeah.
we broke? That's just
So
my question. I don't get
yeah.
it. You know what I'm
So
saying?
to finish my point, in my opinion, we don't even need to get a left back to already say that this is a 10 out of 10 for me on Deco, and just the kind of job that this office is doing, and the way these stories are breaking, the Bardis of the world, the Luca kid from Brazil, right? Well, his name is
Yeah,
what,
yeah. I think
Luca, or yeah. So
Lucas.
when you get this type of names who nobody's ever heard of, that goes to show how much the front office is working behind the scenes, and how much they're doing their due diligence with the scouting department. How much are they doing when it comes to this negotiation and getting these kids? You know how much, if this kid that we're getting right now from Brazil, if he plans out, you know how much Florentino Perez is going to regret not finding this kid before Barca. It's like a battle right now between, ever since Neymar, Florentino made a point of emphasis of not letting go of any other Brazilian kid coming up and coming, and Real Madrid has been able to steal every single one of them after Neymar, and now Barcelona looks like they got him, and it goes to show how much the front office is working. I am just so happy. But to answer your question, I have never heard of this kid before. I'm just going to be really, really honest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm probably going to be looking at highlights probably today or tomorrow. I may make a video on him on my channel or whatever, but I do need to see. I need to scout this kid, because I need to see what Barca do. I need to keep up with what Barca's doing right now. It's insane.
Bro, this comment is absolute fact. Deco, big up Andrew, but guys, Deco is legitimately playing football manager. Deco, apparently, listen, a bro club getting youngsters. And by the way, I'm not gonna lie, Bardghji, I'm hyped for him, bro. I can't wait preseason, right? I hope this guy cooks. And number one, I just hope that he looks sharp, off the ACL, looking like he's fresh and dangerous, right? But the guy is the Lucas. You know what, bro? Whenever Barcelona gets a Brazilian specifically, I'm always like, you know what? Brazil's a special nation, and Barcelona, the Brazilians we've had in the past, right, with Dino, Rivaldo, Neymar. Listen, Dani Alves, I'm not saying he's going to be him, but I really hope that this guy gets an opportunity, because, of course, Vitor Roque, completely different scenario, but at the end of the day, he didn't get a chance. And I just want, right, Zelucas eventually to get a chance. Who knows, bro? Maybe he is a long-term, bro, Barcelona, we don't know. Maybe this Zelucas kid is a long-term partner with Pedri in the midfield. We don't know. He might be the guy, It was like, how Xavi and Iniesta, they're a lot older than Sergio Busquets. He might be the CDM who's a lot younger than Pedri. We don't know. But listen, I'm hoping for the best. I can't even lie to you guys. But
Dude,
I
playing
mean,
in Brazil is not easy. We all seen it at the Club World Cup. Their level, it's insane. I mean, every single player that plays for Brazil, they're great players, and to be able to make it at that level in that league at 17 years old, that in and of itself goes to talk about, it speaks volumes of the kind of level that this kid is going to bring. That's me saying something without even watching a single minute of this kid. Just the fact that he's already there playing in Brazil, getting his name out there in Brazil. So can you imagine how competitive it's to be able to make it in the Brazilian league?
facts,
This
bro.
isn't in Salvadorian, Guatemala, or even the Mexico league. This is freaking Brazil, man. These players can compete with Europe.
Bro, and this is the thing, guys. Like, even though there's a Lucas kid, I'm gonna be real. I'll be honest with you. I'm more excited for Zelucas than even Bardghji. Because Bardghji, I'm excited for. But bro, whenever it's a Brazilian, it's different, bro. I'm telling you, bro. Listen, even the Argentinians these days, bro. Remember, we lost out on Echeverri. That guy looks like a baller at Man City already, right? At River Plate. Julian Alvarez, we lost out on, right? We chose Ferran Torres. Wrong or right, whatever. Julian Alvarez, by the way, don't worry, guys. He's coming next year anyway. You know what I'm saying?
By
But
the way, that Echeverri kid is a stud, man. I watched
that's
him at the
what I'm
World Cup
saying.
17. Was it World Cup 17? Well, it was a breakthrough moment, right? The
Bro,
World
he was
Cup.
looking like Maradona, bro. That kid was like
Yeah.
unbelievable, bro.
They
It's
call
like,
him Messi in Argentina for a reason.
Bro, I think he's gonna be their next star. I don't even think it's Mestantano. It's the Echeverry kid. That guy, the only flaw that guy has is that he's super right-footed. But I mean, look at some great players like Iron Robin. Those guys are very, very one-footed. I'm telling you, Echeverry, Julian Alvarez, Rodrigo,
Dude,
Vinicius Jr.
Argentina's
We
future
missed out on
is in
some,
great.
bro.
Argentina's future is in great hands without Messi, dude. They have this Almada kid who is a freaking stud. They have the Mastantuno, Julian Alvarez, this Echeverry kid. Oh my goodness, dude. The Enzo Fernandez, the McAllister, dude. Dude, don't sleep on Argentina next year in the World Cup.
No, but that's my point. I'm saying, why isn't Barca getting more of these players, right? Like Barcelona, I'm going to be honest. Europe is elite with talent, right? Don't get me wrong. But the South American talent hits different, bro. I'm telling you guys. When you're looking at the top 5 all time, you got Pele, you got Maradona, you got Lionel Messi, you got Ronaldinho, arguably, right? Bro, the best. You know what I'm saying?
You know what makes me the most excited about this season, this coming up season, and what's happening right now with Barca and around Barcelona is that we've always had a bad front office. We always had a bad project. Like the last, I would say probably when I said always, I mean like probably the last 5 years when Bartomeu was here. And the fact that Barcelona got it right under Laporta with Deco. Look at why is it still that this kid Rashford wants to come to Barca? Because everybody wants to come to Barca. Why did we get Nico Williams? Dude, Athletic Bilbao, Athletic Club, they're ready to let go of Nico Williams to Bayern Munich, even at a discount, dude. Even as an installment payments on the release class, when they wouldn't even install payments for Barca, not even for a penny. And why is it that Barca is still able to pull these deals? It's because people want to play for Barca. Players want to come to Barca, play for Flick, and whoever we have, we can't let go because nobody wants to leave. Dude, this club right now is it, bro. This club right now, nobody wants to leave, and everyone wants to play here. And that's why Barca is getting all these deals. The Bardghji kid is another example of why the Barcelona is so attractive right now.
Yeah, listen, big up Omar BYT. That guy is a brother. This guy right here, he's a Barcelona content creator. Big up, guys. Show support to him too, and also Barca Volume. But I do want to make a point on what Barca Volume just said. Guys, Barcelona, when we're seeing guys like Nico Williams want to come, right? You're seeing guys like Rashford. You're seeing guys like Luis Diaz. You're seeing all these different guys make sacrifices to come to Barca. That's telling you Barca, and I said it in my last video, Barca right now they're a desirable place. They're what's it called? How do I say it? They're an attractive option. Everybody wants to come to Barcelona right now for a reason. Jan Laporta and Deco, that is what I give them credit for. Whatever the backroom staff has been doing the last 2 years, hey, you know what? That's applause for them because right now, I'm looking at even guys like Ivan Perisic. We got an unk who wants to unretire basically to come play for this team for 1 year. That's how desirable Barcelona right now is. And I can't wait for the season, bro, especially with Hansi Flick. I'm like, there's just no way that this can go wrong. I feel like next season, I know a lot of people, Madrid fans especially, are saying, what's it called? Basically, hey, Hansi Flick, he always drops off in his second season. I'm like, no, we're giving him, bro. You know what we're basically doing, Barca Volume? We're giving him unlimited ammo. If we can get Rashford too on loan, brother, I just don't see how it's wrong, bro. You're getting this guy, Ferran, Lewandowski, Rafinha, Dani Olmo, Fermin, Lamine Yamal, Nico Williams, and then maybe Rashford. You know how many guys I just said? That was like 7 or 8, bro. You know what I'm saying?
And the only reason why we're still in the picture for Rashford is because he's literally begging Barca. He's really desperate to come to Barca, dude. That's the only reason. Barcelona wouldn't be going after him right now, even after spending all this money on Nico Williams. Right now, the only reason why it's still a thing is because Rashford himself, because he wants to do whatever it's in his hands to come to Barca. Everybody wants to play at the new stadium? But all of a sudden, Hansi Flick comes to this. It's such a blessing for Barcelona to have Hansi Flick. I don't know how many times I've said it throughout the season. It's not only for what Barca was able to do. Look at the kind of project. And it kind of got this front office buttoned up too, because now Deco's making great decisions. He was saying something bad about the keepers that he didn't know about keepers, and then all of a sudden we got the keeper. Why? It's because Hansi Flick is behind the scenes. It goes to show how much of an impact a great signing, such as a coach, a manager, who is such a leader, he knows his role, who knows the squad, and can do scouting as well.
Facts,
It goes
bro.
a long way, bro.
Bro, listen, guys. Absolute facts. Deco has been cooking, right? Big up Santiago. Smash up the likes, people. We have 50 people here. This is a record high without a raid. Guys, if you are new, a lot of people you got, obviously the people in the chat, they're subscribed, but a lot of the people aren't subscribed. So if you aren't subscribed, subscribe to the channel and drop a like, please. But let's move on because we still got a lot to talk about, bro. And basically, we got a Nico Williams update 12 hours ago from Martinez Ferran. And guess what he said? He basically confirmed, right? Bro, he put it out there and he's somewhat reliable. And he said that Barcelona will activate Nico Williams' release clause on July 1st or July 2nd, in between that time of those 2 days. And you know what's crazy? Basically, our preseason, because Barcelona, they want to get Nico before preseason. If they activate the release clause, then they still have around 12, 13 days before Barcelona's first preseason game. So listen, what is your reaction to Barcelona basically making this move as quickly as possible? What are you saying, man?
Little things are happening. Little things are happening. I'm telling you all. So that's the thing with Nico, dude. Today is the day, I guess, he picked up everything from his locker.
Facts,
Today is the day that he said goodbye to his friends, to people close to the team and whatever. It's finally, dude. It's finally here. This is the imminent signing that Laporta was talking about, and everybody knows it. And it's nothing's gonna stop this. Not even Bayern Munich trying to pay 10 million for him. Barcelona is his only team, and the story already came out that Nico Williams let Athletic Club know that Barcelona is the only team that he wants to go for. He wants to play with Flick. He wants to play with Lamine Yamal. He wants to play with Pedri, and he wants to just be in this club. And it is not there's nothing there to stop it. Today is an exciting day because the more these stories are coming out, the more imminent this signing becomes. And now Nico Williams is going to be a reality. And I don't care who want to call him trash. I don't care who those Madridistas who want to say that he is mid. Wait until Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal start playing, dude. In the last two seasons, Lamine Yamal, 254 successful dribbles, and
Yeah, I seen
Nico
that.
Williams, 168. The third best is Vinicius Jr. So it goes Lamine Yamal, Nico Williams, and Vinicius Jr. is still below if you count 2 seasons ago. So last season and the season before that, that's 2 seasons. And Nico Williams, the only one better than him is Lamine Yamal. I cannot be more exciting.
Bro, and listen, I do want, before I give my take on Nico once again, right? Basically, the reason why Barcelona, right, why they're postponing the payment and they're doing it on July 1st or 2nd is basically when they do on July, because by the way, contracts, they expire on June 30th, I believe. So it's going to be a new financial year, probably new FFP. And basically, maybe this means that Yaun Garcia's release clause and Nico Williams' release clause, they're split. Basically, Barca paid Yaun Garcia's for the 24-25. And this one, what I believe is 25-26 season. So it's different and it's for FFP reasons. So listen, at the end of the day, I'm not an accountant, but what I will tell you this for free, right? If Nico Williams comes to Barca, I'm looking at this roster and I'm like, bro, you already know Nico Williams, he makes us better. You know, look at the games that we struggle. I'm just looking at, you know what you do when you lose in defeat to Inter Milan? Don't just lose and just ask why. Actually look at why you lost. You were too Lamine Yamal dependent against what's it called, Inter Milan. They doubled, sometimes tripled, sometimes they put 4 on him on one side. That's unacceptable. That's what Leo Messi had to deal with at his latter days at Barcelona. Now we got to look at what can we improve. You know what you could do? You can make an isolation player right out on the left. So you got to at least get 1 player, if not 2, on Nico Williams. That's what you do. Because listen, let's be real. Lamine Yamal, outside of Lamine Yamal, do we have another dribbler on the team?
No.
Like Lamine? Not really. Rafinha, that's not where he makes his money, right? Let's be real. Rafinha is dangerous through on goal, in the middle, with spaces.
Not even Olmo.
Dani Olmo can kind of dribble, but maybe
not even him.
He can't really dribble. Only Lamine Yamal can truly dribble and command a double team. Nico Williams, I'm not saying a double team, but when he's hot, you're going to have to double him, bro, because sometimes Nico looks very, very dangerous. But listen, what are you saying about the signing one more time?
Yeah, so most people, I've heard this take a lot, and they say, why is Barcelona, this is a wasteful signing. Why is Barcelona going after a position they don't need, or a player
Oh
they
my
don't need?
God.
Their offense it's the best that it was last season, and what they're really lacking is the defense. So my take on that is like, okay, so Barcelona has a chance to go for a 22, 23-year-old player who is a great investment to begin with. And not only that, but he's willing to do a
Yes.
team-friendly deal. But not just that, Barcelona is looking at an option of becoming even better and strengthening what it's already a strength. So I think the game against Inter Milan was a game where we were really exposed, and it was a game where we really, really needed that second punch, and we just never there to give that punch. And I think it was a lot to do with Rafinha not being able to dribble past guys, not being able to be defenders off the dribble. And I think once Rafinha played in the middle, he had a much of a better angle to go left, to go right. And that's the one thing that Nico Williams will bring to the team, is he can bring that creativity. He's more creative. He's more of a build-up. He's gonna start wide. He's gonna try to cut inside, cut outside, try to cross to Lewandowski, try to cross to Rafinha, whoever's gonna be playing that number 9, and it's just gonna be so much better. At the end of the day, I do see the point where Barcelona needs to be much better on defense next season, but doesn't mean that you can't strengthen something that's already a strength. Doesn't mean you can't make it better. And to me, I think having a player like Nico Williams he's gonna go a long way. And mark my words, I've said this already, but mark my words, having a player like Nico Williams is gonna go a long way. We're gonna be so grateful that we have him. Not against Inter Milans of the world, not against Bayern. We're gonna be so grateful to have him on a Sunday morning against Las Palmas, on a Sunday morning against Getafe, dude, when they're playing it with
Getafe,
extreme low block,
Mallorca.
and the only player who can break something is Lamine Yamal on the right. That is when Nico Williams is going to come to fruition, and that's where we're going to see him in action, breaking all these teams down, dude. I cannot wait to see it. I cannot.
Nah, bro, this is a hilarious comment. Big up Catalan. He said Trent is looking for the next available flight back to England. Listen, I'm gonna be honest. I've already said it, guys. I've said it. Imagine having Nico Williams, Rafinha, you know what I'm saying, taking turns on Trent, and then maybe Lamine Yamal gets greedy and he goes to the left side. You know how he switch wings sometimes with Nico in the Spain team, and then you know what? Just for fun, why not Alejandro Balde get some run out on Trent? You know what?
You know what's
Why
funny
not?
about Trent, real quick? You know, I'll be quick. The funny thing about Trent, in my opinion, is that there was all this hype before he showed up. There's all this hype that we're getting him, and he's a beast, he's a monster. And have you noticed how there's no freaking hype whatsoever, dude? After this couple of games he had, and even after the first game when we saw him in action again with Real Madrid, there's literally no hype and to speak of whatsoever on Trent. What happened to Trent? Where's Trent?
Yeah, nah, real talk. But bro, this is an absolute fact because Barcelona, even though I wouldn't say we're a counter-attacking team, bro, we do counter a lot in the transition. You've seen, right? Well, whoever's the goalkeeper, so Yalan Garcia will have to do it. How many times did we see Szczesny or Inaki Pena when he was playing? Once the goalkeeper gets the ball off a corner, go quick, go quick. Handsy flick, he demands the player when there's a transition, go, go, go. Do not wait. Imagine a Barca counterattack is going to be deadly. It's going to be electrifying. That's an absolute fact by John. But I do want to say this also. Nico Williams will be making Alejandro Balde better, in my opinion, or Grimaldo, who, if he comes in. Even Gerard Martin would probably be better with Nico Williams because none of our left backs, this is the truth, Barcelona's current left wingers, none of them command a double team, and they're not too dangerous when they cut in, right? Rafinha, if he's cutting in from the left, guys, remember, he's left-footed. That's not a danger, right? When you have a right-footed left winger who can dribble, right? Now you got a guy that when he cuts in, it's a real threat. And guess what opens up? On the outside, you got Alejandro Balde making a run. And the guy is fast. So, listen, I'm not going to lie. I'm looking at this team offensively, and it's got everything. Right now, I believe we got everything. But I do got a hot take for the people in the chat and also you. I believe that Barcelona, because you've seen the reports that Lewandowski will probably be taking a back seat, right? This season, he's not going to be a confirmed starter like Rafinha and Lamine Yamal. I believe Rafinha will be our main man this season. I don't think it's going to be Lamine yet, maybe in a year or two, but I think Rafinha is going to be the go-to guy. Like when it comes to the face of Barcelona, even though Lamine Yamal is technically, right, he's our best player, I think when it comes to output-wise, Rafinha is going to be one of our go-to guys to get goals, maybe even better than last season. I think that we surrounded him with wingers that can dribble. We surrounded him with guys who can overlap. Not only that, the midfield is amazing. You got a striker sometimes in Ferran or Lewandowski. I think Rafinha is going to cook, bro. Under Hansi Flick, I think he's going to cook, man. That's what I'm just saying. But what are you saying about it, bro?
Yeah. So real quick about the point you were making even before this one is that you were talking about Valde and how he's going to make better with Nico Williams. Now, to be fair and to be objective, I do think that stylistically they will have to adapt. And not only because I think I think out of the whole Barcelona squad, probably Balde is the one where Nico Williams doesn't have the most chemistry with, because usually it's Cucurella who's playing on that side. But ultimately, I think they're both players who, for example, Balde likes to play wide a lot. He's a much of a wide threat. He likes to dribble, but he likes to go wide a little bit. So what he likes to do is he goes wide and then he likes to find the crosses. That's what Balde loves doing. But when it comes to Nico Williams, he also likes to play wide. So I think it's just going to be a matter of fact that they're going to have to communicating who is going to go inside, because if Nico Williams goes wide, then Balde has to do like a give and go and just go straight into the interior area. So going interior is going to Balde have to adapting a little bit more. But I do think it's going to happen, and I do think that eventually these two players, if they can develop a great chemistry, sort of like what Koundé has with Lamine Yamal, it's just going to be unstoppable. It's just going to be a matter of how they adapt to each other in that way. And as far as what you comment on Lewandowski real quick, to me it's interesting, and I think I was like, I didn't think that as much as I rate Flick highly, really highly, like I think that he saved our lives, and I'm just so grateful that he came here. I did, even after saying that before last season, I didn't expect him to do this. I didn't expect him to even come into the front office and fix so many things that were wrong with this club, and I cannot thank him enough. So with that being said, I never would have thought that Flick would have it in him to bench Lewandowski next season. If he does that, which is the only thing that I wanted Flick to do, but I knew that Flick wasn't going to do it. So if he does that, to me, it's too perfect, man. To me, it's just too perfect, because Lewandowski does need to take a backseat next season, especially Nico Williams coming in, having Rafinha, having Dani Olmo, having Lamine Yamal. And that's why I gave you that exercise question last time. Does Lewandowski start for PSG? Does Lewandowski start for Bayern? So things like that. It's just to give you an exercise of the top clubs and how Lewandowski wouldn't be playing for these clubs, because they have just so much better talent around. And I think Barcelona without Lewandowski would have better talent on the field.
Yeah, no, bro, I absolutely hear it. But I do want to move on to actually Marcus Rashford, guys, because apparently the guy is still reluctant to join. Apparently, Ben Jacobs, he put out an article, but I do got a different report. And basically, before I speak about Rashford, right, and once again, Barcelona right now, credit to us, bro. Deco and Jan Laporta, they've done their homework, right? And Barcelona right now, we're a desirable club to go to. But I'm just looking at Rashford, and right now, I'm at the point where I much rather get a center back or left back if it's possible. I mean, do you agree with that? Like, do you agree with the statement? Because at the end of the day, you got Nico probably coming 99% chance, right? You got Ferran Torres. Nobody's talking about him, right? You got guys like Lamine Yamal, Rafinha. You got Fermin Lopez. His game time, unfortunately, is probably going to get a little bit less than even this year. We got Dani Olmo. Do you even need Rashford? I'm going to be honest, right? Like, I'm going to be honest. I'd rather get a center back or a left back. And listen, I want to see your take before I share the article, bro.
Yeah, so what I think that as far as the center backs, if we can keep Christensen and Araujo, I don't think we need a center back, in my opinion. If it's not that we don't need him, we need a young player. Maybe if Araujo would never step up to this, but as far as what you're saying about Rashford, yeah, Rashford, it seems a little redundant to me. It seems a little bit extra. It's just too much of what we already have, because I do think that if we look at last season, I think Lewandowski overperformed, and I think Ferran Torres overperformed. So even if Lewandowski underperforms next season, I'm still counting on Ferran Torres to step up and take that next level and just kind of take advantage of getting more playing time. So having a guy like Rashford it makes me believe that it's a little bit too much. Even though I think it's sexy, I think it's great, I would love to see him in the Barcelona uniform. Such a great talent. A
Both
big
flanks he can play.
big physical presence in the box, something that Barcelona lacks of. We don't have a guy that physically that can impose his will, especially aerial, right? No aerial threats except for Lewandowski. But even Lewandowski was losing his stuff a little bit last season. He wasn't getting those headers that he normally gets. So
No, but
at the end of the day, if we can have Ferran and Rashford, I would say that makes a lot of sense. But the fact that we have Lewandowski to me feels like a year too much. Lewandowski, we should have moved up from like this season.
I hear it, bro. No, in my opinion, so you're saying right now you'd sell Lewandowski?
Yeah, so I think for next season, if we're getting Rashford, I would love to see Rashford and Ferran Convo rather than Lewandowski. So I
You know
think
what it is though?
Lewandowski should have been gone in good terms, in great terms. Should have taken this season for what it was and should have just moved on to Saudi, in my opinion. I know there's a lot of Barca fans. It might be a little bit of a hot take, but this is what even this whole season when he was getting great numbers, I felt like I was thinking that he slows down the offense. I think this offense is a little too fast for Lewandowski, in my opinion. But we can agree
Yeah.
to disagree.
No, but I mean that's not really my point. But I was gonna say that I mean the truth is that I think the board is just gonna let his contract play out. That's the truth. I don't think they're gonna force it. I think Hansi Flick he knows how to get the best out of him. And sometimes Lewandowski, even though in games that he's had a lot of games that he wasn't that good, he still bagged the goal. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's somewhat priceless. And sometimes there's not many strikers in the world, even Rashford and Ferran. They don't have Lewandowski's tendencies of just knowing where to be. So I'm gonna be honest, even though Barca technically should sell Lewandowski for his last year on his contract to Saudi Arabia, I think they're just gonna, with respect to Lewandowski, they're just gonna let it play it out. That's just what's gonna happen. I just doubt it's good that he's gonna leave.
Yeah,
But
yeah, no, I agree with the Lewandowski take. All I'm saying is I'm fine with Lewandowski next season with Ferran Torres, but if Rashford is coming in, then now I'm thinking like, then why are we keeping Lewandowski? Because now we have three guys playing the number 9 because he's not going to play. He's not going to play on the wide. We have Nico at that point, so he's not going to play as a left winger. He has to play at the 9. That's the only reason why he would come in the first place. So to me, I think it has to be Rashford. I think it has to be if Rashford comes in. I think Lewandowski is one guy too many. And then if he doesn't come, I think it's fine to just have Lewandowski and Ferran Torres at the 9 for one more season.
you know where it is though? Like Marcus Rashford, this is my problem. Like as much as Rashford's can't believe that he can still come to Barca, like I just don't know how because Marcus Rashford, even though he wants and he's desperate to come to Barca, once again, I'm with you. I think it's overkill, and I'm with the chat. I believe as much as even Rashford on loan, if we can do it, unless we get a center back and left back first, I don't really want it to happen. Unless we get the center back or left back first, then fair enough. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, what do you got to say with that, bro?
Yeah, no, that's totally fine. Like to me, like I said, I do like his qualities. I do like his presence in the box. I want to see that body playing at the number 9. But as far as having three players at the number 9, a position that we may even rotate as a false 9 to begin with Dani Olmo, like it was leaked that Hansi Flick is entertaining the idea of going with the false 9 next season. So if you're going with the false 9, having 3 strikers is not really the ideal situation you want to have in your club. It creates more competition. It creates more animosity. I think it's better if Hansi Flick is trying to explore the idea of going with a false 9. I think it's better to just have 2 strikers because 3 strikers, it's insane if we're going to be playing a false 9 lineup next season. It's going to be really uncomfortable to have Ferran, Lewandowski, and Rashford.
I mean, listen, you know what's funny, bro? I wanted to talk about sales right now, right? But you know what's crazy? John Williams, he said Barca need to cash out on Fermin. Listen, we're about to talk about sales because there's 3 different players. Ansu Fati, let's start with him. Before we get to the hypotheticals, you saw the news. Ansu Fati to Monaco is a here we go. Barcelona, I think it's a loan, right? Isn't it a loan deal? And basically
it's a loan,
yeah.
option.
Yeah, loan with an option to buy, I believe. So Barcelona, Ansu Fati's gone. I believe, in my opinion, it's a good move for Ansu because they're going to be in the UCL. on top of that, right? You look at Monaco. I've seen Monaco. I've watched them. They're well coached. Their coach, I think his name is Hooter, very good coach. And on top of that, defensively sound. They've got a lot of young talent. I'm not gonna lie. I think they might get second place in that league, bro. I really believe Marseille, good team. But I think Ansu Fati, it's a very good move, good manager. The league is not mad difficult. I think he can. I really think that, I'm not high on Ansu, but I think that he might do well over there in France. But what are you saying about that move?
Before anything, dude, Lyon got relegated
Woo-hoo,
from
that's
League
crazy,
One.
bro.
Oh my God, dude! What's the deal? That's huge news, man.
Yeah,
They got
bro.
relegated next
That's why
season.
Turkey wanted to leave, and Turkey probably had some inside information about Lyon getting relegated. And listen, I don't know if Barcelona, Deco's been cooking. Get the best Lyon youngster, and go to their academy right now, and be like, yo, you want to come to Barcelona? Do they have a left back? Who's their current left back right now? Who's their starter? Can he hold bench for Balde? I would go to.
You're trying to put Leon on yard sale right now.
No, listen. Bro, Lyon right now, bro, relegation sides, they're always desperate to sell. And I've seen that Lyon, they need to make millions and millions of dollars, right? And I don't think they made the thing. You know what? Barcelona, let's get their best players. Spend a little cheeky 5 million, maybe 5 plus 2 add-ons. Bro, why not, bro? I'm telling you, why not? But listen, I'm just playing, guys. But no, seriously, actually, I'm gonna be honest. If they have a talent out there in France, in Lyon, bro, Barca should actually go for them. I'm not even joking, but
yeah. So I'm really happy for Ansu Fati. I can't believe we are where we are. It seems like 3 to 4 years ago we were so excited about this young player wearing the number 10 for Barca and hopefully taking the Barcelona to the next level. And now we're just loaning him out. It's insane. I know they had tough negotiations. I think Monaco wanted to pay 30%. Barca wanted Monaco to pay 50%. I don't know at the end of the deal what the numbers are. Maybe if you have it on Fabrizio Romano, if he reported the numbers, but I don't have the numbers as far as what they negotiated. But I'm really happy for Ansu Fati. I think this is a good league for him too. I think I would have wanted him to go to maybe stay in La Liga to stay a little bit more relevant, to stay a little bit more within something that he was already comfortable with. But I do see it. Monaco is a great place. I've said it before. I think it's a great. It's a deal that everyone wins. Barca offloads the fair play amount. Ansu Fati goes to a club where he can start, and Monaco gets a great player for very little money.
bro.
So I think it's a great place for everyone. Everybody wins, bro.
Yo, this guy, Football Carnage, get out of here, bro. Listen, I always say
Xavi Ball is here, and we're not impressed. That's all I gotta say.
Xavi Ball is here, and Trent's still getting cooked.
Xavi was watching Flick and wanted to install the Heinlein on Real Madrid, and they're trying to press. They tried, okay? They want to press, but
come on, bro. Hey, Raul Asensio in a high line. The guy cannot handle it. That's all I'm saying, bro. Red card, and a penalty the other day, bro.
Hey, Will, if you're listening, whatever happened to that guy Trent and that hype that was so crazy before he showed up, and now nobody talks about him.
Bro, forget about Trent, bro. They're talking about, listen, forget Rafinha and Nico going on Trent, bro. Listen, I play winger, bro. I would cook Trent. Listen, guys, if we reach 5K subs on this channel, you know what we're doing? You know what we're going to do? We're going to react to my highlights, and I will prove to y'all that I can cook Trent. Legitimately, I'm not even joking, bro. He cannot guard me, but listen, that's a conversation for another day. But listen, let's actually go off of Fati because I actually don't think there is too much to say, right? I do want to talk about a player that a lot of Barca fans, they're not in favor of him leaving the club, and that is Andreas Christensen, because apparently Christensen, he wants to remain at Barcelona. He's turned out offers from Saudi Arabia, and listen, basically he wants to stay. The fans, family, everything around Christensen is, yo, I want to stay at Barca, right? I still got another year on my contract, but the thing is, Barcelona, they still want to sell Christensen for money. So, I mean, I just don't get it, bro. I know we need money, maybe, but I've seen the bids. It's only going to be like 20 million for Christensen. And I believe, this is my take on it real quick before you go. I really believe that Christensen, if we sell him for 20 to 25 mil, are you going to get a center back for that price as good as Christensen? I think the answer is no. You're not going to get a center back as good as Christensen for that price. So for me, I wouldn't sell. It's not like a Firming, for example. And by the way, I probably wouldn't sell Firming, but if you throw a 75 million bid at me, I have to consider it because I can actually get a very good player for 75. For 20 million, you're not going to get better than Christensen. I would say Christensen should stay at Barca. If I'm Barcelona, I would sell somebody else, bro. I just don't think he's the guy to sell. I would sell Martin before him. I would have made Ansu's move permanent. I would have made Pau Victor, if he leaves, permanent. Hector Ford. Why are we doing loan? I'd rather do that. But listen, what are you saying about Christensen potentially leaving Barcelona?
Yeah, I just don't understand it, bro. Like, I agree with you. I think this is really, it's really close to being a really dumb move if Christensen leaves, because I don't know what's the hurry to get rid of him. Deco did say on that other interview, I did a video reacting to this, and Deco said something like there was 5 CBs and it was overcrowded. But I don't. You tell me who's the 5th one. Because we have Kubarsi, we have Martinez, we have Araujo, we have Christensen. Who's the 5th?
Whoa, hold up. Kubarsi, Araujo, Inigo, Christensen, Eric Garcia is the 5th that he's talking about, bro. That's
if he wants to put in Eric Garcia there, but he's more rotational. He played more as a right back in this season. But I don't think that he can play on the pivot. I guess he's counting Eric Garcia, which is, to me, I don't know. I agree to disagree. But my point is on Christensen. I agree with you, and I think you're right on the point. Like, why are we letting go of Christensen when he's such a clinical player? He rarely ever makes mistakes. I don't believe that he would have made those mistakes that Araujo made in the Champions League had he been the guy who would have been playing there. I hardly ever see any mistakes from Christensen, and I don't see, like, we're not going to get a player who is going to be this good for that kind of price. So why are we so desperate to let him go? I don't understand. I would never understand it for the life of me. Christensen, man, I just keep him for one more year. Keep Araujo. Between Araujo's inconsistency and Christensen's inability to stay healthy, I think you can make one player and just play for the rest of the season. So I don't see why.
It's sad that you said a half of Araujo and a half of Christensen. You know, you'll get one player's game time, but it's so true. And realistically, I'm going to be honest, right? Just like this person, Joy, right? Big up to you, right? I would really keep Christensen because I want to see him at least 1 year. I want to see Christensen at least 1 year under Hansi Flick. Maybe not even an extended period of time, at least 4 or 5 months. I want to see what he can do in this highline because truly, bro, we saw the limited time. He's a good player. He worked under Xavi when it wasn't a high line. He worked when it was Hansi Flick's high line. I think Christensen, listen, I think he's a baller. He doesn't make mistakes. I just want to see him 1 more year. But let's see what Deco and Laporte decide to do with him. But listen, I do want to move off, right? Because we'll answer some questions because a lot of people are asking questions. Pablo Torre, basically, he might be leaving the football club, right? So, guys, I mean, in the chat, are you in favor of that? In my opinion, I already said it. If Pablo Torre is leaving, 1,000%, I want a permanent bid, a permanent deal. I don't want another loan deal. I think Pablo Torre is good enough to command, a permanent deal. He's not a player like Hector Ford or Ansu Fati or Pau Victor, who he might be good. Listen, when I'm talking about Pablo Torre, I'm so sad that it didn't work out at Barcelona because this guy's a baller. This guy, nobody can convince me that he's not good at football. Pablo Torre is a very good player. And in my opinion, if I'm Barcelona, I'm selling him for 12 to 15 million permanent deal plus add-ons because he's good. And basically, the reports are that Mallorca, and I'll get it up, Mallorca basically want Pablo Torre, and Barca, what they will do probably is they'll sell him permanently, but there's going to be a buyback option if he pops off, if he goes crazy. And in my opinion, I think he's going to pop off, bro. I'm going to be real. He's the one youngster or one player who's like cast out currently that I truly believe there's a chance that he might come back to the football club when he's like 27, 28 because he's that good. I believe in Pablo Torre. I believe in the stocks when they're low. He's a good player. Nobody can convince me he's not a good player. But what are you saying about that deal?
No, dude. Pablo Torre is one of my favorite players that don't play at the starting 11. I've been on record by saying that I really hate that Pablo Torre didn't get enough playing time from Hansi Flick. I don't know why Hansi Flick didn't try to get him more minutes. He had the opportunities. Hansi Flick, if I could ask Hansi Flick one question, it would be, why didn't you play
Facts.
Pablo Torre more? Because every time that you played him, he played extremely well. He answered the bell. He answered the question. Every time he answered it, like he answered it with an assist, answered it with a goal. He was so clinical every single time. Very, very creative, extremely creative. A team like Mallorca can absolutely benefit from a number 10 like this. Like,
That's
excuse
dangerous.
me. And the one thing
Set
I
piece
would say
taker.
about Pablo Torre, though, go ahead.
He's a set piece taker too. His corners
Yeah,
are elite.
the one thing I would say about Pablo Torre is, if he leaves, I actually disagree with you, because I think that Barca is paying a tax for not using enough of Pablo Torre. Because if Pablo Torre would have played enough this season, he would have actually shown more of his abilities, and more teams would have been more okay with spending the money on him. So now, we didn't get to see much of him last season. So most teams are going to say, okay, I want him on a prove it deal rather than a set in stone deal. And at the end of the day, with Barcelona not playing him enough, it's going to buy them in the you know what, because they didn't display this kid the way they should have. And now they lost all the leverage that there is. And to me, if he leaves, where I disagree is that if he leaves, I want him to leave on the Nico Paz deal. On the Nico Paz, where we can buy him back in a couple of years, maybe 2-3 years, we can buy him back if he's good enough, if it's more mature. I definitely think this player has a lot more to give. And I think it's going to be another club, but I hate to see him go 100% without a buyback option.
No, but this is the thing. Mallorca, actually, they might do the buyback thing. And that's why Barcelona, I would let them go to Mallorca. They're in the league. They can play good football. They can also park the bus. But, bro, if he's the lone playmaker and they're a tough physical team, brother, he could rack up assists just off corners. The guy's a good player. I'm not going to lie. Pablo Torre, if I'm asking Hansi Flick a couple things, one of the things was definitely, like you said, why didn't Pablo Torre not play more? Because, bro, the guy, I'm not going to lie, bro. You know when they say the streets won't forget? The streets will not forget that Villarreal away performance. That pass to Lewandowski, I don't
Yeah.
care. Bro, I don't care. Listen, you do not perform that pass unless if you're a very good playmaker. You just don't. That's if a Lamine Yamal or Pedri did that pass. I always say, we're talking about it. It's on Instagram. It's on TikTok. Forget weeks. You're going to see it for months, right? The same replay of that pass. But since Pablo Torre does it, nobody really cares. And I'm going to be honest, in preseason, this guy was absolutely phenomenal with Pau Victor. I remember his game against Man City, absolutely balling out there. But listen, it is what it is, right? And, bro, I just think that there's just too many guys ahead of him. Fermin's ahead of him. Let's be real, right? Hansi Flick likes Fermin better, right? Hansi Flick likes Dani Olmo better. So I'm going to be honest, Pablo Torre, just like Catalan says, right player at Barca, but the wrong time. If he came here 4 years ago, he would have played a lot more. But listen, at the end of the day,
I think, to be honest with you, to his credit, I think Xavi would have given him more time.
he was with us when we won the title, to be fair. But I don't even think that season he played that much. So I'm not gonna lie. I think the only times he would have played would have been like under a Ronald Koeman when Barcelona were just so bad that any good player would be starting. That's like I think Torre would have only played what's it called when Ronald Koeman was there because the squad was just so weak. But listen, at the end of the day, I think Pablo Torre is a very good player, bro. But hey, you know what? If he proves it, who knows? He might come back. But listen, I do want to talk about Hansi Flick and the defense because I do want to talk about the debate real quick, right? And guys, get your questions in the chat, right? So I want to ask you right now, would you go for Rashford on loan? And let's say we have the FFP to get everything, right? Except a fullback, right? Or Rashford on loan. Which one are you doing?
A fullback or Rashford on loan?
No. But this is the thing. If you get Rashford on loan, you still keep Gerard Martin. That's what I'm trying to say. So do you get it, basically? So basically, if you get Rashford, Gerard Martin stays. Or basically, don't get Rashford, you get rid of Gerard Martin, but then you replace him with like Grimaldo or Vanderson, basically. I mean, what would you do?
Yeah. To me, this is a no-brainer. I said it before I even knew that Nico was coming, before I even knew that this kid Roony was coming. I said it. I think to me, it's goalkeeper, it's left back, and it's left wing. So we need to get more depth. So I never mentioned number 9 because I knew Lewandowski was going to be here for one more year, and I knew that Ferran Torres was going to be one more year too. So that's if we go back. So that means that to me, number 9 is not a priority, and I would definitely go for the left back just because I think that we need to get rid of Gerard Martin and upgrade at that position. Now, if Gerard Martin stays, I'm not panicking because I think that even Nico Williams, when Gerard Martin is playing, I think Nico Williams can get Gerard Martin to play better. Just defensively, he can focus more on defense. We're not going to need that projection much on offense as much as we would need if we had Rafinha there. So I think that, in my opinion, I think it's a no-brainer. I think it's a left back instead of the number 9.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, we'll see. In my opinion, Gerard Martin, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to cry if he stays. But listen, I would say if Grimaldo's there, if we can do somewhat of a swap, not a swap deal right away, but like if we sell Martin and we get Grimaldo, that's an improvement because he's just a better offensive, consistent fullback. But listen, if Martin stays, it is what it is. At the end of the day, this is a very good comment. Martin, if he stays, right? Because with Nico, Martin could play more safe. Instead of overlapping, he doesn't have to go that high because Nico Williams, he's a guy that, listen, at times you do have to double team him. But listen, it is what it is. Let's see what Barcelona does eventually. But listen, I do want to move on. There was a comment back here. Yeah, I don't think I can find it anymore. But basically, yeah. Yeah, no, I think it was right here. So basically, with Fermin Lopez, do you see any of the number 10s leaving the football club right now? Like, outside of Pablo Torre, because people are throwing out Fermin Lopez, but I just don't think he's going to leave, bro. I think he's definitely going to stay.
I think it's a little unlikely, but it's not out of the picture. If there's a club, this is Fermin. Okay, I love Fermin.
I think he's staying.
But if there's a player that needs to be sold 100%, it would be Fermin Lopez. I think if we can get 70 to 80 million for Fermin Lopez realistically, if we can get Chelsea to buy him, if we can get another club to just put in a bid for him, I would say that this is a great time to sell because he finished the season incredibly well. And he's a little inconsistent, right? He's great, but that's the only thing that he's had throughout his whole career, so how inconsistent he has been. If we can sell him, if we can cash out, I would definitely look into it, especially when you're upwards of 70 to 80. And let's remember, let's do this exercise. When was the last time Barcelona sold a player for 70 million? I would just
bro. Last time we sold, I don't even know, bro. I'm gonna be honest. Last time we sold a player for 70 million, it has to be Neymar, bro. Is that true? Is it Neymar?
I think it was Neymar. Yeah,
it has to be Neymar, bro. And that was 200 something, bro. Barcelona.
That's 10 years ago. 10 years ago. Was it 10 or 12, 9 years ago?
No, it was, I think, 8 years ago. But this is the thing. This is the thing. In my opinion, Fermin Lopez, this is the thing, though. Like, for example, this person says Gavi. If we had to, and this is a nice debate, guys, in the chat. If we had to sell Gavi or Fermin Lopez, who would you sell? Because in my opinion, I'm not going to lie, I would actually keep Fermin. I think Fermin right now under Hansi Flick, he has a definitive role, bro. He does. You know what I'm saying? Gavi, I don't think you can say the same. And I know the Barca fans, they love him because what does Gavi have over every player? The guy has sheer passion, right? He has sheer passion. The guy will legitimately run through a wall for Barcelona. But the thing is, at the end of the day, I believe that Gavi, is he going to improve? I think Fermin's ceiling is a lot higher than Gavi's. I think that Fermin Lopez right now offers more than Gavi under Hansi Flick. And I think Gavi, the only thing that keeps him here is that, let's be real, a lot of the La Masia kids, they're just too young to promote them. Mark Bernal is coming off an ACL. They're the Fernandez twins or cousins or whatever they are. Those guys are a bit too young still. So it's like all the midfielders in La Masia, they're like 15 to 17. Gavi right now is staying because of the timeline. But listen, we'll see. If Gavi doesn't improve, in my opinion, I would rather sell him because there's no definitive role. Is he an elite number 10? No, Fermin can be. That's the thing. Will Gavi be an elite number 10? I don't think so. Will Gavi be a great double pivot player? I'm not going to lie to you guys. Bro, you guys might think I'm sounding like a Madrid fan. I'm being honest, guys. This is just the harsh truth, but I just don't think he's going to be an elite player. So at best, Gavi's going to be a role player, but at that point, why don't you just cash out? That's my take.
I'll be quick on this Gavi thing. I honestly think that Gavi is a player that I do want to keep for next season. I wouldn't cash out on Gavi. I think I would cash out on Fermin, and it may seem a little contradictory to what I've said before because I do have a lot of love for Fermin, and it's hard when you have these discussions because every time you give an honest thought, people think that you're hating on the guy. You're hating on the kid.
Shane. I promise I'm not hating. I promise. No, I promise you I'm not hating, bro.
It's actually good to talk about these things because these conversations go behind doors, and and front offices talk about this stuff. And honestly,
Thanks.
I would
That's
say
true.
that I would keep Gavi. I think it's really easy to forget how good Gavi is because he was injured for a year, and the last season he was really inconsistent. He never got enough playing time with Hansi Flick. Hansi Flick was even Hansi Flick himself said it was really hard for him to find a rhythm for Gavi because when Gavi was gone, he kind of made his starting 11. The starting 11 was working. We're one of the best teams in the world for a reason because whatever Hansi Flick was cooking was working. So at that point, plugging Gavi in and out of the lineup was extremely hard for Hansi Flick, and it was actually frustrating for Flick because he could never find a spot for Gavi, right? Because Gavi is this warrior who can play extremely well, who can play great on defense. He's just all-around
He's
player,
a warrior,
a
bro.
leader. But I would keep him just because I still remember how great Gavi was 2 years ago before that ACL injury. I remember that he can. I believe that he can still be that player. We just need to give him time. And I would actually say that for me at this point, I would be okay with letting go. But Gavi, I would be more hesitant. I'm just gonna be honest.
Okay, fair enough. No, because that Gavi gives you the intangibles of winning that, like not many players, you can't even buy that. I'm going to be honest. La Masia, they don't even produce that. Gavi is just a rarity when it comes to that. And I hear the understanding. But my take is just from a footballing perspective, right? I
Yeah.
think that Barcelona, let's be honest, Frankie de Jong and Pedri, chat, you guys would definitely agree. Those two guys are ahead of Gavi. And let's be real, in the next 2-3 years, they're not going anywhere, right? Mark Bernal, I think, is going to jump Gavi. I'm going to be honest. I truly believe Mark Bernal. Let's be honest. Guys, remember, Hansi Flick, this is the same Mark Bernal that he was starting over Marc Casado, a Casado who later on was such a good player. Mark Bernal was starting over Casado. So I think Bernal in 2 years is going to be ahead of Gavi. I think Casado, in my opinion, and this is the hot take, I think he's shown more than Gavi. I truly believe that. Listen, people might hate me, but sometimes Barca fans, they complain that Gavi, hey, we're kind of struggling in the first phase. Casado, we never struggled in the first phase. We didn't really struggle with Casado. He's an adequate role player. That's what he is, right? And listen, I know a lot of people are probably going to be mad, right? They're going to be like Frankie de Jong, Araujo. There's so many guys, even Fermin, they would sell over Gavi. But I'm like, bro, listen, I'm not saying sell Gavi right now. But in maybe 1 year or 2 years, maybe it would make sense to, because I think he's going to be down the pecking order. And for 50 million, listen, I know he's a great utility player. I'm not denying that. But I think eventually, listen, I'm telling y'all right now, Barcelona, who's he ahead of in the pecking order? Because I named 4 guys that I think that he's below. I said Bernal, Frankie, Pedri, and I think Casado. I think that one's debatable. But listen, Bernal and Flick, there's a thing there, bro. Flick, legitimately, he likes Bernal. So that's
Yeah.
just my take on it, man.
I would cash out on Casado, to be honest with you. If we can get a good offer for Casado, if we get 40, if we can get somewhere around 40 for Casado, I think it would be a great sell for Barca. We just have too much debt. We have Bernal, like you speak. Excuse me. We also have, like I said, we have Frankie, we have Pedri, and we have Gavi. So to me, I think it would be Pedri, Frankie, Bernal, and then Gavi. That would be, I think that would be my order for me, to be honest with you. But I would actually have Casado below Gavi. But I know they do a few different things because Casado is more of a pivot who plays extremely well
Yes.
on defense, but he lacks a little bit more creativity. I know sometimes he'll make through passes, he'll make long passes, pretty great long passes, and he'll have a couple assists doing that. But at the end of the day, if we can cash out on Casado, I think right now will be the time to do it. But I don't think Barca will find an offer for him, and I think he's going to stay. Is my point. But if we can cash out on him, I think it would be Casado for me.
Bro, I think Casado, if we had Casado in the end of last season, because remember, he had that injury for the rest of the year, I believe that Frankie and Pedri get more rest. And versus Inter Milan on defense, when we look shaky, I think that just would have helped. It's just another thing, another variable. If Casado was healthy, you could have subbed off Pedri or Frankie late in the games when they're tired. But Hansi Flick, he didn't really trust anybody else. But Shane makes a good point that Frankie and Araujo, when Dumfries runs past them, Gavi would take a red card. That's the thing with Gavi. I'm not denying this at all. And that's why if he stays, it's going to be for this reason only, for being honest. The guy has winning intangibles that you cannot take away from him. That's the thing. He has over Frankie. He has over even Pedri. He has over Balde, even Araujo. He's smart. He's a winner. And I know Gavi's a winner. The guy, he's very smart. He looks at the bigger picture. He knows his role. They say in the NBA, anybody who watched the finals, like, I don't know if you guys know Alex Caruso or a TJ McConnell. Those guys, why did they even make a career? Why were they on a team in the NBA? They're not skilled, but they know their role and they make winning play after winning play. They'll sacrifice their body. That is Gavi's case to stay at Barca.
Yeah, some players make a living just by being role players. There's
just being a role player. And that's the thing. Sid, I'm not saying Pedri's better. I'm saying Gavi has something over Pedri, whereas that he would run through a brick wall. He'll take a red card because, once again, he knows his role. Gavi would take a red card in a UCL semi because he probably knows that he wouldn't start a final. Would Pedri? Would Balde? No, because at the end of the day, he is a lesser player, but it's not a hating thing. It's just the truth. That's just my honest opinion on it. But listen, I mean, I don't know what else to say. Let me get the chat real quick. Casado, listen, I think Casado, you said you'd cash out on Casado. I just don't know if it's gonna happen. Listen, I would, if it's like 60 million, I'll probably do it, but I just don't know if it's gonna happen. I'm gonna truly believe. I think Casado is gonna stay. Samuel says the same thing. Casado is miles better than Gavi. Bro, I'm not gonna hate on him. That is recency bias. Casado, this is the thing though. It's not like I'm saying Casado is a stellar all-star Pedri level talent. No, I'm just saying Casado was an adequate role player for what Barca needed at the time. And when he came into the roster, we didn't miss Frankie de Jong. And that's the most I can say about him. That is a very good player. La Masia just generated a player just like that. We didn't miss Frankie de Jong. Listen, if we cash out for him, I'm not mad, but listen, that's just my take. But do you got anything else on Casado, Gavi, anything else to say about them?
No, I think it's pretty clear. I know it's, like I said, it's easy to forget how good Gavi was before he got his ACL. But also, to be fair, it's hard to know how hard it's going to be for him to come back from that, because a lot of players from ACL don't recover particularly well. So I understand the point of Gavi, but how much can we really get for Gavi right now? If we're selling him on the low anyways. Nobody's going to unload the bank and come in with an 80 to 90 million for Gavi. So why would you sell him at that point? If you think it's better than that, then just hold on for him one more season. Maybe he can play 4 more minutes this coming up season, and then you can sell him, and then season later. So at the end of the day, for next season, I'm keeping Gavi. For Casado, I love Casado. I think he's a great player. I think he has a lot to give Barcelona, and a few of those traits that he gives Barcelona the best, Barcelona doesn't have a lot of, which is playing great on defense, which is playing that pivot role to perfection, doing everything that Hansi Flick wants him to do, and doing that dirty work. And a lot of players don't want to do the dirty work. Casado is a player who embraces doing the dirty work. So that's the one thing that we get from Casado that we don't get from many players. But at the end of the day, if we get a good offer for Casado, to me, that's a sell, just because we have so much depth at that position.
Yeah, no, real talk. Listen, King City says a good point. Gavi has that dog in him. He is the energy, bro. That guy, when he comes into the pitch, you already know Barcelona's defense, it went up 10% because that guy, the intensity he brings, bro. Listen, even when we're down, the guy just brings intensity, bro. But listen, it is what it is. It's a topic for another day and a debate we can debate another time. But listen, I'm not saying Gavi's a bad player. I remember the league season. He was very good. But listen, I think Barcelona, at the end of the day, you're hearing me and Barca Volume talk about it. Guys, chat, this is the same debates that Deco and Jan Laporta are probably having in the boardroom. You know what I'm saying? In their meetings. They're probably like, yo, La Masia is cooking up so many great talents. We're going to have a golden generation. Yeah. Which one of these guys are we going to cash in? It's just the truth. They're probably having these uncomfortable conversations also. But listen, that's actually it. That's going to wrap it up for today. Barca Volume, what are you saying? Let the people know what you are, bringing to your channel, what you got coming up.
Yeah, man. So if you go to Barca Volume on YouTube, you can find my channel. I'm always uploading, whether that's huge news that are breaking. I'm doing a weekly show called Culés Only. Episode 2 is dropping on Saturday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So that'll be really exciting. I got a big name coming up. I haven't revealed it yet. I will reveal it on my community tabs on Thursday. It's a big Barca creator, so I don't really want to say his name yet, but he's coming to my channel on Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time. That'll be Culés Only episode 2.
Yeah, 9 a.m. Pacific, by the way, guys, is 12 p.m. Eastern. So if you're on Eastern time, a lot of people are on Eastern. So that's the time for 9 a.m. Pacific. But listen, that's it for this week. We talked about a lot, bro. We talked about Roony Bardghji, Rashford, Nico Williams, Christensen, Pablo Torre, Gavi, Fermin. You know what I'm saying? Hansi Flick, his tactics defensively, right? So guys, that was it for today's episode. We'll be back next week, and I will probably be live in the next 1 or 2 days. So just be tapped if I drop a video, if I drop a live, have post notifications on. Guys, that's it from me. I'll see y'all soon. Peace. Stay safe. Visca Barça.